Guys, sometimes you read a take on the internet that is just so big-brained, so incredibly genius, that you have no choice but to reschedule your previous video and break down this. This is, of course, Dark Viper AU arguing that all reactors are morally bad people. This is going to be a great time. I am Paul, combat veteran, MMA fighter, YouTuber, and apparently terrible person and morally just a hair away from being, well, a word that'll get me demonetized if I say it. Let's get into this nonsense. As you can see, I have annotated this man's script. For those of you that don't know, Dark Viper AU released a script for his video, How the React Grift Works, probably a working title, in which he argues that reactors are morally bad people stealing content from innocent small creators. How the React Grift Works by Dark Viper AU. First off, I want to point this out. I don't really need to say this. I usually keep it in the description, but I'll say it aloud, right? This is protected speech. I am engaging in legitimate commentary and criticism. And while creators are eligible to use the copyright strike, abuse of the copyright strike system, say claiming content that's otherwise protected, is grounds to have a channel deleted. This dude starts it off by saying that reactors are not reviewers, analysts, documentarians, expert critics, or video essayists. Okay, so right there we've got what's called a straw man argument. This is a logical fallacy in which instead of representing your opponents in a debate, your opponent's actual position, you create sort of thin parodies of their position in which you can easily argue against and defeat. A good example is, again, in modern U.S. political commentary, when instead of attacking these specific points, say, the Democrats make, Republicans will instead call them socialist and argue against Soviet-style socialism when that's not the actual point being proposed, right? This is how straw man arguments work. So by right there saying reactors are bad because reactors are not any of the good things, God.9 says they have no idea if they have anything of substance to contribute, as if they haven't seen the content before. Goes after YouTube reactors like me. And I'm just going to point out that if I don't have anything to add, you guys never see those videos. There are several videos I've done where I've gone, man, I just don't have anything to say to this. This is too out there for me. And I just hit the delete button. How can I ever know if I've done enough? The delete button, dude. I hit it all the time. All the time. So he argues basically what's called the Marxist theory of value for labor. And okay, so the early Marxist theory of value basically was designed in the early industrial era. And to be clear, Marx writing in the 1880s, whether you love him or hate him, was definitely a genius. And one of the things that he argued was that you could understand the value of a good produced by the amount of hours of labor it took to create. Now, in his era, the early industrial era, that looked probably pretty true because most goods were actually goods. So, for example, if you made, let's say, jeans. Let's say you made pants. I think they had jeans back then. Let's say you made pants. Well, you could figure out the value of those pants by the fact that the person making them, the seamstress, I guess, would have to buy the cloth and other materials. They would have to spend, let's say, 1 hour cutting, stitching, and sewing those pants. And so therefore, the value of those pants is 1 hour of a seamstress's labor. And obviously, if you think, wow, that would be really complicated to apply to something like software, right? Or IP, where it's an intellectual thing, but it's not exclusive, right? I can stream Taylor Swift's songs, but so can you at the same time. And as you've seen with poor Taylor Swift's controversy, her art, right, her writing and recording of the song is considered not the same intellectual property as the mastering. The mastering is its own artistic work. In fact, you could argue it's considered transformative, is mastering the songs. That's why she had to buy the rights to her own masters, and she couldn't, and she re-recorded and then remastered her songs herself. So, right, the labor theory of value gets really weird when you try to update it from the 1880s to 2020. So he's just reminding you that, yes, a video might take 500 hours of their creator's labor. But he has this belief that basically you tune into YouTube and you're going to watch whatever you're going to watch. You're going to watch whatever's on, and then you'll tune out. And that bubble of people who go, all right, it is now 5 p.m. I will log into YouTube and I will watch until 6 p.m. He argues that reactors crowd out original content. The reality is a bit squishier. The better analogy is sort of like a supermarket shelf. Does the existence of 15 different varieties of potato chip, which is not a very healthy food to consume, does that crowd out fruits and vegetables? You go, well, no, there's enough fruits and vegetables to meet my demand for it. In fact, I've rarely been in a grocery store in the developed world that didn't have enough fruits and vegetables to more or less meet my need. I think if people don't get the content they want to see, they end their session time. And I see this in the YouTube data. YouTube data and the YouTube algorithm favors session time immensely. And so they love videos that prolong session time. And I think that's what a lot of good content creators do. They expand the circle. Almost every person agrees on what bad React content constitutes, right? The bottom of the barrel is easy to criticize because it's almost indefensible, right? These are the people who put full anime TV shows and will just pause and go, right? They add nothing, and I'm not here to justify them. All right, they talk about, again, this labor theory of value where this person goes, that video took 500 hours of labor to make. They spent 20 minutes watching it and put it back on the market as something new containing 500 hours and 20 minutes of labor. This is this additive labor theory of value, and it's outdated. But what he does argue is that the React video competes with the original video. No, to me, that is not the case for, I'm going to even say the majority of React channels, right? Certainly with mine, you notice you can barely read this script. That's not an accident. That's because my face, my talking, my commentary is the majority of the video. If your goal is to get the same experience as watching the source video, guys, you are going to miss everything good, right? Because it's in a tiny subset of the screen. And frankly, you're not getting the same experience. The timing is all weird. Imagine pausing a video for 10, 15 minutes while I talk and you can't listen to it. It's not the same experience. Most importantly, the source video remains up. You can go to it. It is public. It is out there. We've had this conversation. You wouldn't download a car. Yeah, because you can't. This is someone who doesn't understand how the algorithm works, right? The truth is, Moist Critical, right, whose videos and commentary I find very insightful, right? The algorithm would not give me these things on their own, right? I would not have been aware of any of this because I don't care about this guy if Moist Critical hadn't reacted to it. You see what I mean? And so the algorithm drives people who like React videos. It shows them React videos. If you don't like React videos, then you probably won't encounter it. And if you like a creator, if you like Pokimane, then you're going to see Pokimane videos, whatever flavor they take. You're not crowding them out because of how the algorithm works. It wants to find you the next best video that you want to watch. So if you feel like React YouTube is driving you crazy, just stop watching React videos. All right, he also talks about consent, okay? First, this really bothers me because even a passing familiarity with YouTube will let you know that anyone can file a copyright claim. I could copyright claim Russian Badgers videos, right, if I wanted to. And here's the thing that's bananas about the copyright system, and this is why creators hate it. This is rife with abuse because no owner is going to say that their video, especially say a critical video, they're going to say, no, this isn't fair use. Again, one of my favorite commentators, Spencer Cornelia, he did a video where he criticized someone for promoting a scam. I think it was like a scam-like coin. And those scammers got so mad at him that they copyright claimed his video. He obviously appealed it, but when you appeal it to the guys running the scam, of course they're going to say, no, this claim isn't valid. The point is, it favors the base creator at an extreme level, a level so extreme that most people think it goes too far. Okay? So the idea that poor channels have no recourse on YouTube is preposterous. It is absolutely ridiculous. And the idea that they're like, they have no recourse from having their content stolen is the smoothest brain argument I have literally ever heard. Because it's not stolen. It's right there where you left it. And you can stop it at any time with the click of a button, and it will never be released unless you authorize its release. You can take every one of them. Dark Viper could claim this video, right? And because I'm a small channel, I don't have the money for lawyers. I can't stop him. Like, realistically, like I say that, oh, copyright abuse is illegal. YouTube doesn't give a crap about small creators. They can't. They're a huge company. They have millions of creators. They don't have the bandwidth to do this, right? It's just too expensive to care about small creators. But it means that basically this dude could copyright claim this video and nothing will happen. He will own all the revenue, even though it's obviously protected criticism. Okay? Oh, it's a scam, non-consensual labor. Oh my God. This is, God. Please, 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 guys, nothing is more embarrassing than trying to be an academic without academic credentials. Like stop, right? I don't sit there and pretend like I'm a fucking Marxist scholar, because I'm not. Like, right? Let the Marxist scholars who are stuck adjutant teaching for $5,000 a year, let them have their glory. Let them come up with actual ideas. Ugh, creators earns an average of $20 million a year. You guys see my setup here? This is an Amazon mic. I do not earn $20 million a year. I don't earn $1 million a year. I don't even earn, I'm one of the most successful React channels on YouTube, and I earn about on par with what I made as a government bureaucrat. So this idea that I'm like some rich fat cat stealing from poor, impoverished creators getting millions of views, yeah, that's another stupid take. Like, did you not even Google? I don't think he even Googled React channel or React 2. The XQCs and Hassans and Pokimans of the world, you're using these outliers to make your case, is not a creator or a public figure, and a public figure's business products are not protected from criticism and commentary when they are public. Just like Jeff Bezos, if he launches a rocket ship, right, that is a commercial venture. But the New York Times or Washington Post does an op-ed criticizing it. They're selling papers with 1/8, 1/millionth of the labor it took to launch a rocket ship. But you know what? When you're a public figure and you release media out to the public, you're going to have to deal with it. You're going to have to deal with the fact that people are going to weigh in on your stuff. Okay, so this is what I love. He actually tries to cite fair use law. Okay, fair use law was largely written in 1976 with the goal, and has the goal of another person's work to achieve a different purpose from the original work to a different target audience. Okay, so this absolutely sounds like React content. So he says, he has ruled, actually he's a judge, it's not React content. And he says React content is nowhere close, is the least fair use available content available online. Another big brain take, given that people upload entire episodes of Rick and Morty. But importantly, what's not legal is not necessarily good by any standard. If it's not good, don't watch it. If you don't like my content, just stop watching it. I don't trick you. I don't trick you into thinking it's not a React video. I put React right in the title. It's giant. It is fair use. You know why? Because there was a court case in literally 4 years ago with H3H3, federal court set precedents that says that at least some forms of React content are fair use, even though they used the entire video. Because they spent more than the entire video length dunking on this dude, it was deemed fair use. There is absolutely a legal defense for fair use React videos, the exact kind I do, right? You notice my videos, have you seen how long some of these are? I had a 20-minute VR video that I spent an hour and a half commentating on because I'm adding context by virtue of my experience. And guess what? This dude isn't a fucking lawyer. He isn't a fucking judge. He has no business doing fair use. He's a guy online who read a Wikipedia entry about something, decided he was an expert, decided to give his big brain takes on something he doesn't understand. Wow, shocker. Wow, the exact thing that he dunks on reactors for doing. What people wrote down in 1976 has little bearing on what we today should consider justifiable. Well, that's because courts are always updating fair use. There's always updates to copyright. There is always updates either through precedent or through legal updates. And the fact that he read something and a Wikipedia entry that has been updated since 1976 and purports to be an expert it should tell you how highly you should regard the rest of this person's commentary. Is it the same about making content about video games? Unfortunately, yes. This person argues that the fundamental experience of a video game is to be played, so watching it is different. Okay, that's not true. Have you ever noticed that some video games have a story? Sometimes those stories have plots like twists and turns, spoilers. Do you notice sometimes they have cutscenes? Some of them are actually really well rendered. Did they have permission from the devs, who, by the way, that is the people who provide the labor of creating a video game? So all those devs, the laborers, not the owners, not the copyright holders, the devs need to consent to every time their video game is streamed. Every single time. That is how this argument works. I didn't make the argument. That is, of course, the problem. You see how Marxist labor theory of value, while super applicable in the 1880s, gets really messy today. So every single dev should sign off on every single streamer streaming every single time. Right? Videos of games don't usually compete with the games themselves. Again, I would say most videos usually do compete with the games themselves because, of course, most video games have a plot and characters and events that happen, and as you play the game, you move through those events and learn things, all of which can be substituted by watching a player. And yet, playing a game on stream is somehow fair use. It's almost like by adding your original commentary and your experiences, they are intrinsically transformative because as a person, you own your experiences. The way you experience the world remains yours, right? No one can own the way it felt the first time you played Metal Gear Solid, right? And so that's always going to be yours. Just like your first time experiencing an art is something that you will own. You get to own your experiences. The first time you saw Monet doesn't own that. The museum doesn't own it. It's yours. And so if you want to put it on YouTube, that's your prerogative. All right, guys, be sure to subscribe. Be sure to come join me on Twitch where I steal video game content from people. Okay, I'll see you guys later.